This is an interesting convo that we've discussed here. I've discussed it many times, and this is kind of the relationship between parenting and the kids that you're dropping off at indoctrination camps. And some of y'all actually, I would argue most people that at least watch my content are familiar with it, agree with me on this. But there's those of you that don't like harsh realities. You know, when I'm on target about some of this stuff, I know a lot of people get like upset, and that's fine. Something I guess worth being passionate about. But yeah, again, handing your kids off to the state is kind of a problem there. And if you know that there's a lot of bad shit going on in there, I just still don't understand why folks aren't doing more in their individual capacity to at least look into, I don't know, not dropping your kid off in a public school. Now, again, immediately you mentioned that there's someone already typing, well, I can't do it because of X, Y, Z. I have a job. I have all these things. I can't. And usually these are people that have never actually looked into alternatives because, to be fair, it's not like the state encourages you to do that. They're going to steal from you regardless. So this is why some people justify dropping their knucklehead kids off to the state and do a public education system, because they're like, well, shit, you know, they're going to steal from me anyway, and I'm such a good parent. I spend 30 minutes a day with my kid, and I think I can offset whatever they teach them. You know, no parent thinks that they're a bad parent. None of them. You hardly ever catch a parent actually thinking they're a bad one. And you're on crack cocaine if you don't think some of these little blue-haired little wenches that y'all done produced that are tossing bricks in Starbucks and shit during the summer of love in 2020. You're crazy if you don't think that some of those, hell, a lot of them had conservative fucking parents. You know what I mean? You're on one there. But, because they do, by the way. Either way, it's been an interesting thing to see people become more aware of what's going on in these school systems, and they're trying to kind of make an adjustment here. I still think there's a big opportunity there, and I think, unfortunately, it might get botched advocating for something that's a little more half-assed than what it should be. But the state itself, because people are becoming more aware of what this shit is, which is effectively an indoctrination camp that you're paying for. That's effectively what it is. And they knew this, that was its design. It was designed to kind of, when you consider pressure model, like pump out little minions and soldiers and shit. That's what it was always designed to do, and that's what it is. And now it's especially archaic as fuck, considering the level of technology it is that we have. This whole K through 12 model is archaic, but all it is being used to justify, again, turning your kids into their little minions, while also justifying the spending efforts and the academics, and then making sure they get lined up with money and their existence is being legitimized. But like right here is them just flat out letting you guys know, like, okay, you guys caught on. We're going to acknowledge that you guys caught on, and now we have to explain why it's such a problem that you guys are paying more attention to what we're indoctrinating your kids in regards to. Like, NBC News covered this hilariously, and there's like conservative activists want school to post lessons plans online, but free speech advocates warn such policies could lead to more censorship in K through 12 schools. So that's the angle that they're taking. So as people want more transparency, like, okay, we want to know what the fuck you're teaching our kids that we are handing over to you, which again, no, I'm not going to say I'm not going to judge. I'm absolutely going to judge you. I still think you're fucking insane for doing that, for continuing to drop your child off of there. Nonetheless, whatever. But that's what they're admitting. They're admitting, hey, when they say free speech advocates, it's not them. That's just, you know how the left does. The left takes things that they like to, even if they're a hypocrite on, they don't care, but they'll try to apply it to themselves. They do that all the time, man. Come on. You know, they're not talking about themselves. Lawmakers in at least 12 states has introduced legislation to require schools to post lists of all their teaching materials online, which, again, even that's something I think especially would exist if the market the public school system was completely marketized, meaning that it's abolished and it's just based upon the market. And of course, I got to mention this because I don't want some idiot in the comments thinking that he's saying something profound where he's like, well, so-and-so people don't have the money and they're not going to be able to afford it. So people that don't have as much money aren't going to be able to get their kids educated. Look, stop looking through, shut the fuck up, number one. But stop looking through the lens of public school as it exists right now. In the event that this shit is completely eliminated, the market would change and you could even possibly envision in the ways that it would be. You're looking at it like, okay, it's just a complete transfer and now it's just the same thing is going to exist, but now you have to come out of your pocket. Number one, if you weren't being taxed to fucking pay for it, you'd have money to spend elsewhere. But stop looking at it through the K through 12 typical lens, because that's the whole point. We eliminate that and we have more unique ways of people finding education methods. And of course, they'd have more money in their pockets if they weren't getting taxed. But it's just Florida law should provide parents with the right to review the curriculum used in their children's school. Now, again, for people that aren't bad actors, this isn't a bad thing. You would see a lot more of this if it was completely marketized, that sort of transparency anyway, because this would be something that, people are going to be interested in, parents particularly are going to be interested in, to at least know what it is that they're being taught. Their children are being taught. Some conservative activists say the effort, which has come under fire for Democrats and teachers and civil liberties advocates, all of those guys that you mentioned are some of the worst. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not apologizing. Yeah, some teachers that I look at this like, oh my God, he's taking shots at us. Yes, I am. Some of you guys are among the worst pieces of shit that exist. I'm just going to be honest with you. It is a strategic move to expose and root out progressive ideas from schools. They've caught on. They caught on. Oh my God, they found us out. They found us out that they're going to expose we're sitting there indoctrinating these kids on progressive shit. They found us out. We can't have that stuff. And then they're trying to spin it like, oh my God. Teachers, their unions, and free speech advocates say that the proposals would excessively scrutinize daily classwork and will lead to teachers to preemptively pull potential contentious materials to avoid drawing criticism. Oh, you mean to tell me that instead of just indoctrinating their children, they're going to think twice about it? The next move in the fight of a critical race theory, which some conservatives have used to describe the ideas in books that they believe are too progressive or political for the classroom. Now look at how these guys talk about this stuff, and you can go read the article where they go into detail about, like, again, the right. It's like fucking among the worst people that we know as far as teachers union folk and all of that, who basically don't want to have attention placed upon them and have consequences potentially for their actions as far as the indoctrination that they've been getting away with for decades. It's funny how they've talked about this now and lately, because they're like, wow, this is bad. You're getting onto our plan. But if you want to know, on a serious note, this is a little bit of a pivot, but it really does highlight what it is I'm talking about. If you want to know why these guys spend so much time with this type of shit and why they are so aggressively trying to fight against this, it's because the minute the progressive left or the authoritarian left loses basically this system where you basically are stolen from, so they could teach your children and influence the next generation on some bullshit. If they lose that, they lose big. They lose big. If they don't have that and they don't have that pipeline there, they're fucked. And they know that. And this is why they continue to roll out these academics that say decentralization in any way, shape, or form is a bad thing. They always roll them out. It's these Ivy League folk, we can't have this. We have to have the state and all this that's in control of this because of reasons. But it ultimately boils down is that if this shit, let's say this, for hypothetically speaking, and I know some chicken shit's conservative be like, well, that's just not realistic. It is realistic. And if people were less chicken shit, it'd happen faster. But let's just say this thing was completely eliminated. You know that most of these guys, not all of them, but most of them are going to be fucking out of jobs because there's no true demand for what it is that they do. None. Whether it be from some of the teachers, the administrators, a lot of these people with these fake jobs, equity officers and shit. These are fake jobs. These aren't even real. These are people that are fucking, this is money laundering effectively. Indoctrination and money laundering. Like these guys, in the event that people they have money in their pockets, parents, and they're able to choose which institutions that they want to subsidize to, have their children. Like, so it's a service. It's a true it's service in which schools have to be competitive instead of just having guaranteed fucking pools of money. A lot of these guys will be completely out of a job. They know that. Not only would they not have the pipeline to your children, they would be out of a job. And this is why I say stop being chicken shit and advocate for the actual solution. And that's ending this shit. You want to really take it to the fucking leftists? Go on a full all-out assault, for lack of better terms, on the public education system and get its elimination. That truly is where you really start making a change for future generations. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.